On the eve of the June 30th elections, the General Prosecutor's Office, the OSCE, and the CEC have agreed to cooperate in the investigative process aimed at ensuring the legitimacy of Albanian elections. Today from Korça, DP Chair Luzim Basha invited citizens to protest this Saturday, calling it a national movement to overthrow the Rama regime. The University Pact is in the spotlight once again after Prime Minister Edi Rama accused professors of blocking its implementation as, according to him, they fear the vetting process. Good evening. It's 6:07 on Tuesday, the 12th of March, 2019. Welcome to the English edition of Aura News. My name is Oliver, and I'm here to bring you the day's top stories from across the country, translated into English. Today, the Serious Crimes Court was unable to hear the prosecution's conclusions regarding the case involving Kelment Balili, who is accused of trafficking in narcotic drugs. At the time of the hearing, it was expected that the prosecution would release its final conclusion, outlining the punishment for the defendant. However, due to the absence of Balili and his lawyer during the court hearing, a final conclusion has been postponed until March 26th. The cause of this postponement was due to the non-appearance of Balili and his lawyer, Theodori Solaku. Solaku has reported that he is sick and has a medical report issued from March 11th to March 16th. In this case, the court has appointed a new lawyer, Remzi Pronari, for the time being. The session also had an interest among representatives of the United States Embassy. In the opening of the judicial process, Balili requested a shortened trial by accepting the acts which he is accused of. The request was received by the court, now making Balili the beneficiary of 1/3 of the total punishment. Electoral fraud and decriminalization remains a concern in Albania, both in parliamentary and local elections. Today, Bernd Burchard broached the discussion on the implementation of the decriminalization law. The OSCE ambassador urged policymakers to make an effort to end this phenomenon. But even the chair of the Central Election Commission, Kelment Zguri, called upon the institution to implement the law of decriminalization without any compromise. Meanwhile, the chief prosecutor, Arta Marcu, guaranteed that the investigation will prioritize all issues affecting the integrity of the election process. Burchard focused primarily on the political situation currently playing out in Albania, while also mentioning that the June elections are approaching quickly, and Albania is going through a critical period in time. The head of the OSCE group in Albania requested the opposition to participate in local elections, while on the question of electoral reform, he stressed the importance of a political dialogue. The General Prosecution, the Central Election Commission, and the OSCE signed a memorandum of cooperation for the implementation of the decriminalization law, in which parties will commit themselves in providing and exchanging important information during the law enforcement process. During his stay in Korça, the Democratic Party chair paid a visit to a garment factory where he promised fuel and electricity for the needed price reductions. Basha stated businesses are encountering financial troubles due to the high fuel and electricity prices. The Democratic Party has a clear plan on businesses and the liberalization of the economy. Basha said these two elements are burdensome to manufacturing companies, which are therefore forced to increase their spending on products or to decrease their employees' salaries. During his speech, he leveled harsh accusations against the current government, comparing it to a drunken parent that does not think of its family, but only of alcohol and their own interests. According to Basha, it is unacceptable that Albanians today only work to put food on their tables, referring to the recent Eurostat report. Basha has not stopped in his efforts urging citizens to participate in the March 16th protest, stating, "The time has come for a big change. Edi Rama and his ministers live in a whole other world, while most Albanian citizens live in their world. Rama lives in luxury, while Albanians cannot even afford a simple bus ticket. All their money goes to food just so that they can survive. To put an end to all of this, we have to bring about a relationship between the government and its citizens, like the relationship between parents and their children. I urge you to join the protest and to bring about the change that we need." Prime Minister Edi Rama held a meeting with 373 students of high academic performance from the Puntambar Public Administration Platform, which aims at providing excelling students with employment opportunities. During the meeting, the Prime Minister accused professors of blocking the implementation of the University Pact, which was launched after the recent student protest. According to him, the cause is connected to the fear that they have of vetting. The head of government considers the hiring of 373 high-performing students in the administration as a significant moment of change, and according to him, it will provide a highly educated governmental workforce. Immediately after the meeting between Prime Minister Rama and the youth, the head of the Youth Forum of the Democratic Party of Albania, Belind Kulici, reacted. Kulici accused the government of lying about student employment because in the case of Enkeleda Shalla, Kulici says that since 2016, she has already been employed by Arion Valiai in the municipality of Tirana. For nearly an hour this morning, Chasuta doctors protested against the violence exercised against their healthcare workers. They demand immediate measures from the government against such actions, stating, "We strongly believe that the working environment of doctors should be far from any kind of violence and any kind of bullying. Violence contributes to more violence, depression, and directly affects the quality of service. If doctors and nurses are not safe, neither are our clients. We need to change the culture here." Another doctor stated, "Dear colleagues and friends, this is a call for action and communion. Together in one voice, we should say stop to the violence against healthcare workers. This is a call to state institutions, to all the mechanisms necessary to protect us. The time has come to review the Constitution so that the punishment for violence perpetrated against healthcare workers is strengthened. Please believe in your doctors and nurses. Stop the violence against medical professionals." Doctors say that the problems citizens have with the state should not be taken out on healthcare workers. They demanded that the government should take the same legal measure against the abusers towards doctors as they did to the fans crossing the stadium line when Prime Minister Rama said that they would change the penal code, where the minimum penalty is 3 years in prison for those entering onto the green field. Present at this protest was the Deputy Minister, Mira Rakotsoli, who stressed the fact that the ministry is working on tightening the law. Also, doctors of the Shkodra and Durrës held a parallel protest in their respective cities to support their colleagues in Tirana. Next week, doctors will come up with their own platform addressing their demands, which they will soon submit to the Ministry of Health. Prime Minister Rama says the government has many indications to believe that after the protests of recent days, the influence of foreign powers still remains. This statement, which sparked controversy, was made during an interview last week to the Italian daily political newspaper called Libero and was published on Tuesday. Speaking about the director of the newspaper, Pietro Sendaldi, who was also one of the participants in the panel discussion at Bruno Vespa's Porta e Porta studio, Rama emphasized that the opposition should return to parliament if they want to confront the issues that Albanians face, stating, "They are acting now in a way that only harms Albania. We are not in danger of destabilization, and the protesters before Parliament are not supported by the people." When asked about the European integration process, Rama emphasized that Albania needs strong institutions of integrity in the European Union to pursue modernization and to combat corruption that he himself admits is still high. Meanwhile, for the country's economy, he said that it is growing by 4% annually and appreciates the fact that there are about 3,800 Italian ventures operating in the country and over 500,000 Italian tourists who have visited Albania during the 2018 year. Although the country is mired deep in a political crisis, the current mayor of Tirana, Arion Valiai, has presented one of the pillars of his program for local elections, which are to be held in June. During the presentation of the project financed by the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, which provides soft loans to all those who want to invest in green energy, Valiai called upon apartment administrators to apply. Valiai expressed that this would be his first campaign where he will deal primarily with energy issues. The European Union ambassador to Albania, Luigi Soreca, urged the government to provide more investments in this area in order to reduce the environmental pollution. According to Soreca, the reduction of energy use also reduces resource dependency, and therefore the European Union emphasizes the areas of green energy as it affects not only the economy, but the environment as well. He said that the monetary incentives are important in this regard and that the government must take measures to invest in technologies that provide sustainable energy. The European Bank for Reconstruction and Development has offered a €9 million fund to support green energy investments through the banking system, which will also offer cheaper loans. And that's the news across the country today. Thank you for watching our English edition this evening, and be sure to join us again every Monday to Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. Once again, on behalf of Aura News, thank you and have a great night.